Hello everyone. Good afternoon to all of you. How are you all, guys? A very good afternoon to all of you. I hope I'm audible. I hope I'm visible. Okay, so can anyone just confirm in the comment section if I'm audible, if I'm visible, everything is fine? Welcome to the MCQ series on RBI annual reports. We have already covered part 1. This is the part 2 of the video. We'll be discussing the rest of the questions in this part. Okay, so a very important series. So 3 videos here will be very important for your examination. Definitely RBI ka annual report, then the MCQ video 1 and MCQ video 2, right? So before starting the video, guys, I would like to share an amazing news with you that we have launched the RBI Grade B 2025 complete course, and this course is particularly including all the books as well. So we are offering all the books physically as well in this particular course, right? So here are some of the course features. You can enroll in this course. There is a course and there is a special discount as well for today, right? You can connect with our team and get your query resolved as well related to anything regarding this course. This is with books, right? You can download our Oliveboard application, and there you will be getting all the PDFs related to all the YouTube sessions. You will be also getting all the previous year questions as well on our application. You can start practicing them, and there are a lot of videos as well that have been covered live on the YouTube channel of Oliveboard. You can also refer to those live videos for your PYQ practice. Okay. Okay, guys, so I request everyone to please be highly participative in this video. This is very important from your annual report, directly coming from your annual report 2025 part 2, right? Priority sector lending remains a key focus of Reserve Bank to ensure financial outreach to the underserved sector. As of 31st March 2025, the scheduled commercial banks collectively surpassed the mandated target under the scheme. And the scheme is revised as well, right? They have given the priority sector lending revised norms as well in this financial year, in this calendar year, sorry. So what percentage of ANBC or CEOBSC was reported as scheduled commercial banks? Total priority sector lending as on 31st March 2025. Everyone in the comment section. Everyone in the comment section. So this is the actual reporting. Okay, this is not the bare minimum that is prescribed. Would like to clarify that this is the actual reported data as per the annual report. What is the actual reported data for the PSL targets as per the annual report? I'm not asking the data, the bare minimum data which is stated in the PSL guidelines. Everyone in the comment section quickly. So I've just received as of now 1 response. Okay, what about others? No idea. The correct choice here will be option E, 43.1%. So the bare minimum that is mandated is 40% as mentioned in the comment section as well, and 43.1% is what SCBs have now achieved, right? So here in the annual report we can see that achievement of PSL targets. The scheduled commercial banks have achieved the target of 40%. They have crossed it. They have achieved 43.1%, right? Next, credit flow to MSMEs is seen as a vital for job creation and economic resilience. Financial year 2025 saw continued efforts by the government and the RBI to ensure better access to credit for MSMEs. By what percentage did the scheduled commercial banks credit to MSME sector grow in financial year 24-25 as per the annual report of RBI? By what percentage did scheduled commercial banks credit to the MSME sector grow in financial year 24-25 as per the annual report? Everyone in the comment section. Here the correct answer is, guys, option A, 14.8%. okay, 14.8% is the year-on-year growth rate during the financial year 2025. Next is, as part of its efforts to promote the inclusive financial access and monitor the progress across the penetration, usage and availability dimension, the RBI continues to publish a composite index. What was the value of RBI's Financial Inclusion Index as of March 2024? Yes, very good, Vivek. 64.2% here is the correct choice. Okay, 64.2% here is the correct choice. Right? Financial Inclusion Index. ये तीन चीजों से मिलके बनता है, राइट? वी हैव डिस्कस्ड इट मल्टीपल टाइम्स कि ये कौन कौन सी चीजों से यहाँ पे मिलके बनता है. Okay, next, to measure the extent of financial inclusion, the RBI publishes the Composite Financial Inclusion Index. The index is based on three dimensions, as we discussed. It is based on the three dimensions here. Which component contributed the most to the Financial Inclusion Index score of 64.2%? So what component has contributed mostly to this Financial Inclusion Index score? And the correct choice here is option B, FI usage. Okay, FI usage has contributed the most to the Financial Inclusion Index, and as we can see here in the 2024, the green part is the biggest here in the chart, right? The contribution of the sub indices to the growth of FI index, and the green belongs to the FI usage, right? Obviously the weight is also 45 here, right? The weight is also 45 here. Next, in the recent years, the UPI, Unified Payment Interface, has emerged as a dominant mode of digital transactions in India, supported by innovation, widespread adoption across the user segment. What percentage of total digital payment volume did UPI account for in 2025? They have asked the volume of the UPI in financial year 2024-5, sorry, as per the annual report data. As per the annual report data. What should be the correct choice here? The correct answer here is option C, 83.4%. Very good. 83.4% is the correct choice. That's as per the volume of the transactions. Okay, that's as per the volume of the transaction. Next, to promote awareness and action Around the personal finance and responsible money management, RBI observes Financial Literacy Week, a very simple question each year, focusing on a unique theme. What was the theme of RBI's Literacy Week for financial year 24-25? A very simple question. I always tell that if your guys are covering finance, current affairs, RBI circular, then there are high chances that you need to study only the 30 to 40%, rarely 30% of the annual report. Otherwise, rest of the things are already there in the finance, current affairs, right? And the correct choice here will be women prosperity, right? Option B. Next is to deepen the secondary market for government securities. The RBI opened certain trading platforms to move participants. Which platform was opened to SEBI registered non-bank stockbrokers during financial year 2025? Option A, Pravah portal. Option B, Gilt Trade app. Option C, RBI Direct. Option D, NDSOM platform. Option E, RBI Retail platform. Again a simple one. Yes. The correct answer here will be NDSOM platform. Okay, option D, NDSOM platform. Okay, so the full form is Negotiated Dealing System Order Matching, and please do remember this particular NDSOM platform. There is a complete separate video on this concept. Very, very important for your examination, right? Next. During financial year 25, the central bank adopted a mix of operation to maintain sufficient liquidity in the system and ensure market stability. RBI undertook USD INR buy sell swap and open market operation to inject which type of liquidity here? Is it the temporary or the transient liquidity, seasonal, cyclical, tactical or durable? Temporary, seasonal, cyclical, tactical and durable. These are the options. Okay, so there can be definitely a confusion in option A and option E, right? Cyclical भी लग सकता है definitely, but major confusion किस में रहने वाला है, temporary और durable में. And guys, if you remember, these USD by INR swaps were long term in nature, right? They were long term in nature. Majority of them were of big amount and was long term in nature. So definitely that was a durable liquidity. Okay, and recently also RBI has slashed CRR in the recent monetary policy meeting to inject durable liquidity, right? Next, with the increasing demand for fast, secure and interoperable cross-border payment system, the central banks are collaborating through international frameworks to ensure seamless retail transaction across the borders. India recently joined one such international initiative involving several Asian nations. Which multilateral initiative did the RBI join to enhance the instant cross-border retail payments with these countries? A very simple and a very direct question, and this can be important from your examination perspective as well, right? So in today's video there are a variety, just like we do have in the part 1. So many of the questions are covered from different parts of the annual report. It's not like that I have just covered a particular part of a annual report, right? So even if it's a free resource, however, we have tried to cover majority of the questions from the different parts of the annual report here. And here the correct answer will be option D, Project Nexus. Okay, Project Nexus is the correct choice here. Next question. India's external sector indicators showed a resilience despite of global uncertainties. As of March 2025, what was the size of the India's forex reserves? And we have covered this thing in the finance current affairs series as well, right? So what should be the correct choice here, guys? What was the size of India's forex reserves here? Option E, $668.3 billion is the correct choice. Okay, $668.3 billion is the correct choice. Please do remember. Okay, option E is the correct choice here. Next is, to enhance transparency in inflation monitoring, the RBI has improved its data dissemination mechanism. The CPI diffusion indices are now made available through which platform? CAMS, Swayam Dashboard, RBI e-bulletin, CIMS, CPI MIS. These are the options. CPI diffusion indices are now being made available through which of the following platform? Here the correct choice is option D. Okay, so this particular option is there to confuse you. The correct name of the platform is Centralized Information Management System, CIMS. Okay, CIMS is the correct choice here. Next is, with the pilot of the digital rupee gaining traction, the RBI expanded the participant base in the wholesale segment, and that's why they have also involved standalone primary dealers as well. So SDPs were added to the e-rupee wholesale pilot project. How many standalone primary dealer were added to the e-rupee wholesale pilot project? None other than your CBDC. How many standalone primary dealers were added? The correct choice here is 4. Okay. Next is, one of the key developments in government securities market was the behavior of the yield curve. What happened to the sovereign yield curve during financial year 2025? Flattened, steepened, inverted, becoming U-shaped, or remained unchanged? The correct choice here is option B. Okay, option B. So this reflects rising long-term yield due to inflation expectation and the supply factor. Okay, so if supply factor or supply axis is there and inflation expectation is there, definitely it leads to a steepened curve here, right? Because of the investors' expectation to cover this inflation and this supply side factors. Next is, the capital adequacy of the scheduled commercial banks remained above the regulatory norms during 2025. What was the capital to risk weighted asset ratio for SCBs in financial year 2025 as per the annual report of RBI? Correct choice here is option E, 16.8%. Okay, 16.8% is the correct choice here. Next is, to ensure robust defense against cyber security risk, the central banks has implemented governance review in the critical areas. What type of review was launched by RBI in 2025 to assess cyber security governance among the regulated entities? What type of review was launched by RBI in financial year 2025 to assess the cyber security governance among the regulated entities? Option A, functional. Option B, thematic. Option C, comprehensive. D, tactical. Or E, operational risk evaluation. I request you all guys to please be highly participative. This is the one of the most sessions. Why? Because we are discussing MCQs related to annual report here, right? An RBI annual report is a very crucial document for your examination. Why? Because I personally believe that it's nothing but a compilation of everything related to your finance current affairs, right? It's a compilation of your finance current affairs, your economic things that RBI has recently encountered and solved. It's a snapshot of the financial data as well related to RBI, right? So if you read this particular report very well, with the approach that I told you in my previous video, definitely this will be very, very helpful for your examination. You just need to study 10 to 20 pages of this report per day. Don't try to study it at once. It's not possible at all, right? It's always advisable to break it in parts and then study. The correct option here is thematic review. Okay, option B here is the correct choice. Next is, while the number of fraud reported in the banking system declined, the financial impact of the fraud tells a different story. So what was the trend in the number of fraud versus the amount involved in financial year 2025? What was the trend in the number of fraud versus the amount involved in 2025? What do you think was the trend? Both were declining. Number of fraud increased. Amount declined. Both increased. Number declined. Amount increased. Number and amount remained the same. Yes, Aditya, very good. The correct choice here is number declined. However, the amount has increased. That's what was stated in the annual report as well. Next is the non-banking financial companies continue to grow in systemic importance, prompting the regulator to strengthen the oversight mechanism. What aspect of operations were large NBFCs specifically advised by the RBI to strengthen during financial year 2025? So RBI has instructed certain large NBFCs regarding a particular aspect. What was that aspect? Was it asset liability management or liquidity risk management, credit underwriting standards, probability metrics, or loan recovery practices? The correct choice there will be, guys, option A, asset liability management. Okay, ALM, asset liability management here is the correct choice. Okay. Next, the digital lending ecosystem has seen exponential growth. Rising concerns over governance, data privacy, customer protection. Which category of the entities come under the stricter regulatory supervision from RBI in 2025? Was it the digital payment aggregators, online NBFCs, blockchain firms, or digital lending applications, P2P lenders? Here the correct choice is option D, digital lending apps. Okay, so they were brought under the greater scrutiny to curb the malpractices and enhance the user protection, and that's why we can see a particular circular as well related to the DLS. Okay. Next is the Reserve Bank of India follows a structured framework for monitoring the health of supervised entity based on the risk profiling. Which supervisory framework continued to guide the RBI's risk-based supervision approach? Which supervisory framework continued to guide RBI's risk-based supervision approach here? The correct choice here is option B, SPARC. Okay, Supervisory Program for Assessment of Risk and Capital. Okay. Next, the UPI Lite was introduced to enable the small value payment seamlessly without the internet connectivity, promoting the micro transactions across the country. What are the revised limits for per transaction and per wallet as per the UPI Lite as per financial year 2025? And definitely there are some of the questions from the RBI's financial snapshots as well at the end of the session. So वीडियो के अंदर लास्ट तक बने रहिएगा. Definitely we'll be doing that as well. Can be important for your examination perspective as well. Right? So these sessions on finance, current affairs and RBI circulars and your annual report related, these are super important. Why? Because we are bringing the real MCQs, right? The correct choice here is option B, 1000 and 5000. So the per transaction limit they have increased to 1000 and per wallet limit is 5000. Okay. Next is, in order to enhance the self-discipline within the sector, RBI strengthened the operating rules for representative industry bodies. In financial year 2025, RBI signed the recognition and governance rule for which of the following entity? Regulatory think tanks, microfinance networks, self-regulatory organizations, asset management firms or rating agencies. Yes, Aditya. The correct choice here is SRO. Okay. Yes, Aditya and Ayushi. Okay. Self-regulatory organization is correct here. Option C. Next is, to streamline India's gold monetization framework, the government has announced significant structural changes in March 2025. One reform involved discontinuing certain deposit component under the gold monetization scheme. So government has recently discontinued certain kind of scheme in the gold monetization. Which deposit component were discontinued under the gold monetization scheme? Again, I am telling you, majority of the questions you can definitely answer if you do watch the finance current affairs series, right? So broadly 50 to 60% things are already there in your finance current affairs series, what we discuss in the finance current affairs. That's what it's made up of, right? However, there are certain other aspects as well, and that's why we are bringing these kind of sessions as well to cover those things. The correct choice here is medium term and long term government deposits. Okay, medium term and long term government deposits, that's the correct choice. Option C, very good. Next is, to improve the retail participation in the government securities, RBI launched a mobile application offering seamless investment across the market. It supports single sign-on and simplifies the access to both the primary as well as secondary market related to government securities. Right? What is the name of the mobile application launched by the RBI to promote the retail investment in government security? Retail investment in government security. So it's giving access to both primary as well as the secondary market. It's giving access to both primary as well as secondary market related to the government securities. The correct answer here is RBI Direct. Okay, RBI Direct is the name of that platform. Considering the frequent use of digital payments for high value transaction like taxes, regulators have revised the transaction threshold to accommodate the user needs. So they have recently revised the transaction limits as well. What is the new limits for the direct and indirect tax payments through UPI? What is the new limit for direct and indirect tax payments through UPI? Yes, very good. The new limit is 5 lakh rupees. Okay, the new limit is 5 lakh rupees. Next is based on the detailed analysis of state expenditure data from 2020 to 2022, a group under the RBI recommended a revised aggregate limit to help manage the temporary mismatches in the state finances. What was the revised aggregate ways and means advances limit for states as recommended by the group based on the Sudhir Srivastava committee methodology? Correct choice here is option A. Okay, option A here is the correct choice. Next is India's digital infrastructure continues to evolve rapidly, especially in the payment system. The RBI has reported a significant growth in the transaction volumes under its payment and settlement system. India's payment and settlement system has witnessed a growth of what percentage in transaction volume during financial year 2025? India's payment and settlement system witnessed a growth of what percentage in transaction volume during financial year 2025? Option C is the correct one. 34.8%. Okay, 34.8%. Very good, Ayushi. Next, to modernize its currency management ecosystem, the RBI has undertaken a project integration technology, automation and process innovation to ensure more efficient distribution and storage of currency across India. What is the name of that RBI's project aimed at redesigning and modernizing the currency management architecture through network optimization and business process re-engineering? What is the name of the RBI's project aimed at redesigning and modernizing the currency management architecture? The correct choice here is option B. Okay, option B is the correct choice here. Next is the performance of digital payments is often assessed using specific indices to track the penetration and adoption across the platform and users. What was the value of the DPI as of September 2024? So we are yet to receive the current data. We do have the data of September 2024 as of now. So can you guys tell me the data of digital payment index as on September 2024? Yes, option A, right, Aditya? 465.3 is the correct choice here, and we can see here that it's continuously on the uptrend, right? 465.3. The last data was related to March 2024, and again it has saw increase, definitely derived from the digital payment ka infrastructure growth. Next, the asset side of the RBI balance sheet reflects its holding in foreign assets, domestic investments, loans and other instruments. As of 31st March 2025, one category stood out as the single largest contributor to the RBI's asset base. Which of the following was the largest asset component on the RBI's balance sheet for financial year 2025? So guys, did you have a look at the RBI's balance sheet and the income and expenditure account? Anyone? What was the single largest contributor to the RBI's asset based? Which of the following was the largest contributor here? the highest amount which is there in the asset column? The correct answer here is option D. Okay, investments in the foreign countries, basically foreign investments, were the highest here on the asset side of the balance sheet. The RBI balance sheet provides insights into scale and structure of its financial operation, including the investments and reserve provisioning. For 2025, one specific item constituted the largest portion of the balance sheet. The earlier question was related to the largest portion of the asset. Now I'm asking the largest component on the balance sheet, which will include both assets and liabilities, so it can be there on the liability side as well. Any guesses? Which was the largest component on the RBI's balance sheet? Here the correct choice is notes issued. Okay, notes issued was the largest component on the liability side, obviously, because notes that RBI has issued constitutes a liability for RBI. To enhance the financial inclusion through voice-based digital solution, certain transaction limits were extended for broader reach and usability. What is the revised limit of UPI 123 Pay in financial year 2025? A very simple and a very direct question. What is the revised limit for UPI 123 Pay in financial year 2025? Here the correct choice is option C, 10,000. Okay, 10,000 here is the correct choice. Next is to promote the regional payment system integration and fast cross-border remittances. India joined the multilateral initiative to connect with the Asian nations. Which countries are part of the Project Nexus initiative along with India? Which countries are part of Project Nexus initiative along with India? So basically, India is promoting the UPI framework not just in India, however internationally as well. Yes. Option B, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand and Philippines. Next is for improved access to economic indicators and time series financial data. The RBI has recently introduced a mobile-based solution tailored for research and analytics. What is the name of that mobile application that offers access over 11,000 macro financial data series? I am also using this application. Yes, a very simple question and a direct question. RBI data. Next is RBI is modernizing its reporting framework to facilitate automation and real-time monitoring. What is the RBI's data reporting upgrade method under this initiative? What is the RBI's data reporting method, upgrade method under this initiative? Yes, the correct choice here is SDMX based data collection. Okay, option B. Very good. Next is RBI's risk governance model aims to identify, monitor, mitigate the operational and strategic risk at enterprise level. What is the foundational model for RBI's enterprise risk management framework? What is the foundational model for RBI's enterprise ERM, enterprise risk management framework? It's also called as a three line of defense model. Okay, three line of defense model. right? 3 line of defense model. Next is which growing penetration of UPI in tier 2 and rural markets. New functionalities have been added to enhance the user experience and support the physical banking needs. What interoperable facility was enabled to UPI starting via June 2024? This was again there in your annual report. The interoperability feature which was there, yes, was cash deposit facility. Basically it was option E, cash deposit facility. ATM withdrawals was also part of news, right? Next is the Reserve Bank follows a structured enterprise-wide risk management framework to provide proactive risk identification and mitigation. Which department forms the second line of defense? Which department forms the second line of defense in the 3-tier risk management framework? So we just discussed about the 3 line of defense. Which one is the second line of defense as stated in your annual report of RBI? Second line of defense. Department of Supervision, Internal Audit Department, Risk Monitoring Department, Department of Financial Markets Operation, Cyber Security and Resilience Division. Any guesses? Straight from your annual report. The correct choice here is option C, Risk Monitoring Department, RMD. Okay, RMD is also called as your second line of defense. So it's there in your annual report as well. As per the RBI surplus distribution policy, certain conditions must be fulfilled for transferring the surplus to the government. What happens when the available realized equity falls below the lower bound of its requirement? So my available realized equity is below the bare minimum requirement. What will happen in that case? No surplus is transferred to the government or a special provision is created. Surplus is transferred with a delay. Government provides matching equity. Interest on contingency fund is reduced. What can be the possible scenario? A very simple and a direct one. And in the ECB framework, in a detailed video on YouTube, I have explained regarding this as well. Yes, no surplus is transferred to the government in that case if your available realized equity falls below the bare minimum required, right? In line with the broader risk awareness strategy, the RBI institutionalized a special week to spread the culture of risk consciousness. What is the name of the RBI initiative aimed at propagating the risk awareness among the staff? So here RBI wants to enhance the awareness related to risk. So there is a week, just like we do have financial literacy week. Option A, risk education week. Option B, risk awareness week. Option C, financial risk awareness week. Option D, vigilance and risk week. Option E, financial literacy and risk management week. What should be the correct choice here? Any guesses? No negative marking here on the table today. Any guesses? The correct choice here is option B. Okay, it's there in your annual report. Option B is the correct choice, risk awareness week. Next is the Reserve Bank of India income and expenditure statement culminates a yearly surplus that contributes to the fiscal space of the government. For the government, what was the overall surplus reported by the RBI for financial year 2025? Overall surplus. Yes, Aditya, very good. Option B is the correct choice here. Option B, that's the overall surplus. The Risk Awareness Week that we just discussed about is an initiative was started to embed a risk conscious culture in the Reserve Bank of India. How frequently is the Risk Awareness Week now be proposed to be held? What is the proposed frequency of this Risk Awareness Week as per your understanding? Annually, okay? Option C, annually. Just like the Financial Literacy Week, we do have a Risk Awareness Week as well now. RBI maintains a specific buffer to manage operational and market risk. Under the surplus distribution policy, any available realized equity in excess of the required realized equity may be deposited in the fiscal deficit reserve, retained as permanent capital reserve, used to fund infrastructure development, shifted to asset development fund, or written back from the contingency fund to income. Option E is the correct choice here. Okay, option E is the correct choice here. Next is, during financial year 2025, the RBI reported a notable increase in its gross income, reflecting higher earnings from various financial activities. By what percentage did the RBI's income increases in financial year 2025? So it's written on the face of that particular segment where the RBI financials are there, right? It's written in that green box in the annual report. So definitely you need to know the basic financial highlights of the Reserve Bank of India. Here the answer will be option C, 22.77%. okay, 22.77% is the correct choice here. Okay, so next, I have already covered this particular question in part 1. However, I think I have by mistake selected the wrong choice in that particular part, right? So the correct answer here is option D. As per section 53 subsection 2, RBI submits the annual report each year as part of its statutory responsibility here, right? So the section is section 53 subsection 2. I think by mistake I have selected option B in that particular class, which was 52 subsection 3. That is not true. The correct answer here is 53 subsection 2. Okay. Next is, to promote the regulatory digitalization and transparency, the Reserve Bank of India has been recognized for excellence in the digital innovation across several internal and external systems. Which RBI initiative jointly received the RBI Digital Transformation Award? Why the RBI received Digital Transformation Award? A very simple question. Yes, Aditya. Option C, Prava and Sarthi. So these were the portals because of which RBI received a Digital Transformation Award from UK, right? Provisioning buffers are critical to safeguard against the potential credit losses. What was the PCR, provision coverage ratio, of the scheduled commercial banks for financial year 2025? So that's your homework. Okay, that's your homework. Do let me know later on in the comment section, even if some of the students will watch recorded videos as well. So definitely do let me know in the comment section later on, right? Next question is, the asset side of the RBI's balance sheet saw a major expansion, contributed primarily by a surge in one key reserve component. What led to the significant increase on the asset side balance sheet? So we discussed about the biggest item on the balance sheet. However, here we need to tell the item that saw a huge surge. There was a huge surge in one of the component. If I talk on relative basis, percentage basis, not absolute basis. For absolute basis we already discussed. However, year on year basis पे अगर देखा जाए तो इस particular component में जबरदस्त increase था, there was a huge surge. Can you name that component? So particularly it was gold, okay? Particularly it was gold, and we can see here in the balance sheet as well. It's up by close to 50 to 60%, right? 50 to anywhere around 50 to 60%. So that's a huge surge in a particular asset class, okay, in the balance sheet. So I'm talking about the relative terms here, percentage term. Next is the asset development fund is a provisioning reserve for internal capital projects and infrastructure investments by the central bank. What amount was provisioned by the RBI towards the Asset Development Fund ADF in financial year 2025? How much RBI transferred in ADF in financial year 2025? No idea, anyone? The correct choice here is 0%. They haven't transferred anything in the ADF as of now. Okay, it's there in your annual report. The Reserve Bank of India's annual surplus reflects a year-on-year change depending on the market operations, interest income and provisioning. What was the percentage increase in the overall surplus? We already discussed the absolute figure. What is the relative figure? What is the year-on-year growth rate in the overall surplus reported in financial year 2025 as compared to the previous year? A 27.37% is the correct choice here, right? 27.37% is the overall year-on-year growth in the overall surplus, right? Next is public financial institutions like Reserve Bank of India follow specific accounting principles to ensure transparency in the income and expenditure reporting. While transactions are recorded on accrual basis, so this is a technical question. If you have read the annual report thoroughly, you will be only able to answer it. Otherwise, you can answer it via guess also, right? You can guess also. So while most of the transactions are recorded on accrual basis, certain income streams are treated differently due to their inherent uncertainty. Which of the following is not recognized on an accrual basis in the RBI's revenue recognition policy and is instead accounted for only when there is a certainty of realization? Here are the options in front of you. RBI recognizes everything on accrual basis subject to few things on which inherent uncertainty is there. It's clearly stated in the notes to accounts as well from the annual report. Option A, interest income on government securities, penal interest charged from banks, dividend income from subsidiaries, income from forex transactions, and fee income from banking services. The correct choice here is option B, penal charges from banks, and here we can see in the revenue recognition, this is there in the notes to accounts of RBI annual report. Because you do have basics of accounting, financial statements and ratio analysis in your syllabus as well. That's why I brought this particular question. This is a direct accounting related question, basics of accounting related question that you need to know. That we always do the accounting on accrual basis. It's a fundamental assumption, right? It's a fundamental accounting assumption as well, accrual concept. However, there are certain transactions which we do account for on the cash basis as well, just like normal banks. If I talk about the normal banks, then let's suppose if our account turns into NPA, then definitely they will be realizing the revenue only on the basis of cash, right? Only the cash based revenue will be realized. They won't recognize the revenue on the accrual basis on the NPAs, right? As per the RBI prudential norms, as per the prudential norms that RBI has released, right? In the same manner, if I talk about RBI, Reserve Bank of India, they also have so many income sources, right? So they also account their revenue on the accrual basis, except the penal interest charged from banks, which is accounted for only when there is a certainty of realization, right? Sir, RBI को कौन पैसे नहीं देगा यार? फिर भी यहाँ पे अकाउंटिंग को ऊपर रखा गया है. दो RBI is a regulatory body, ऐसा कोई बैंक होगा नहीं जो RBI को पैसे नहीं देगा. Still, accounting will be always on the top of the pyramid, right? So जो प्रैक्टिस है वो है, अकाउंटिंग की जो प्रैक्टिस चलती आ रही है, एक छोटे बिजनेस के लिए भी वही चलेगी, बड़े से बड़े बिजनेस के लिए, इंडिया के सबसे बड़े रेगुलेटर के लिए भी वही प्रैक्टिस चलने वाली है, राइट? नेक्स्ट इज अकाउंटिंग पॉलिसीज फॉर फिक्स्ड एसेट ऑफन वेरी बेस्ड ऑन द वैल्यू थ्रेशोल्ड, asset categories and usability. In the Reserve Bank of India's financial reporting practices, a specific rule applies to the treatment of low value asset, particularly excluding certain types of electronics. According to the RBI's accounting policy, which of the following best describes how the fixed assets other than the land and building are treated when their cost is up to 1 lakh rupees? Look, 1 lakh rupee is a big amount for us. For RBI, it's not at all a big amount. It's not at all a material amount even, right? So sometimes if the asset size is of less than 1 lakh or less than the material amount, we treat it as a revenue expenditure and we charge it to the P&L rather than capitalizing it, right? It totally depends on the materiality practice of the entity on case to case basis. Here the answer will be, I know it's a complex question, right? Here the answer will be option C. They are charged to income and expenditure account. Income and expenditure account means P&L only, right? Income and expenditure account means P&L only. So let's suppose if RBI acquired something which is of less than 1 lakh, it's an asset. Still RBI won't be capitalizing it. They will directly debit it to their profit and loss account, which is called as income and expenditure account. They will show that particular thing as an expense rather than capitalizing it, because for RBI 1 lakh is nothing, right? Except for laptops and similar electronics. However, if they have bought some electronic items or laptops, then definitely they need to be capitalized under the asset side. However, other items will be directly booked as a revenue nature expenditure, and that's what I have mentioned here from the notes to accounts only. So this is a direct screenshot from the notes of accounts of RBI only, right? So thank you so much, guys. We have revised at least 50 to 52 questions here, right, from the RBI annual report, and that sum up our RBI ka annual report MCQ series as well. I hope you guys have liked it, and again I would like to highlight this particular thing, that we are offering the RBI grade B course with books as of now, right? And there is a good amount of discount as well. So definitely if you want to prepare for your RBI grade B examination, you can enroll in this particular course. You'll be getting physical books here as well, okay? Physical books also you'll be getting. So thank you so much, guys, for attending the session. वीडियो पसंद आ गया हो तो लाइक कर देना, कमेंट सेक्शन में कमेंट कर देना, चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर देना. बाय बाय, टेक केयर. इसी तरह से हम आपके लिए बहुत सारे वीडियोस और भी लाते रहेंगे. ओके, सो टेक केयर गाइस, थैंक यू सो मच, बाय बाय.